Incompetence Pod.
Welcome to the Perpetual Incompetence Podcast, a journey in competitive self-improvement.
Bear witness as the three of us endeavor to improve our lives by competing in a series of low-stakes challenges.
In each episode, we will come up with a challenge and then define the rules or metrics for victory.
We'll have 2 weeks to do our best, and at the end, one of us will be crowned victor. Hi, I'm true believer and poetic soul Mike Collins.
Hello, I'm Master Yogi, Master of Wind, the Songsmith, busiest beaver, Dan Collins.
And I'm Mr. Sunshine and Future Corpse, Travis Greenicus Brabant, the Silver Tongue. We each have one idea for a challenge for us to attempt in the next 2 weeks. After we've all presented, we'll decide whose idea is the best. Who wants to go first?
Can I just say your honorifics, Travis, are outstanding.
Yeah, I really like the way they're organized.
It's getting pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, who wants to go?
I'll go. I'm pretty sure I haven't presented this one yet, but I have heard from various sources that eating meat is not good for the planet and not good for your health. So, my challenge was going to be, let's be vegetarian for 2 weeks.
Interesting.
I'm not sure what. I'm not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love bacon and I love eating meat, but it would be an interesting challenge, and I believe it would definitely open our perspective and perhaps make us healthier from what a lot of people say. So there you go. I don't know what the metric would be for that one. I hadn't thought that far through, I guess.
It would be like least meat eaten.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Because there's a very good chance that I would not make it the full 2 weeks without a little bit of animal.
Well, another option I was thinking for this, we could take it even more hardcore and go vegan.
No, I don't. I think the majority of food in my house is non-vegan. Like even like the bread,
milk, eggs. It's.
What else do you eat?
There's a lot of stuff out there that there's vegans all over.
I do have my sister-in-law is vegan. I could get some tips, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, good. I joked about it. I mean, obviously we would do these challenges. I just like the timing for doing no meat is like it's peak grilling season, and I have like beef sticks in my fridge right now. So if we were to do that challenge, I would be so unhappy. Anyway, go ahead, Mike.
Okay. So this is actually one that I submitted in let's call the lost episode. So I think in the spirit and with the same fervor and determination that we took into the Justin Bieber True Believer Challenge, we should immerse ourselves in the wide world of the yodel. Now, if I remember correctly, the problem that we had with this before was that it was hard to have a metric for the best Yumpin Yodler. So what I'm going to propose is actually something that my wife had an idea for these challenges that are a little hard to nail down, is to create a rubric of scores for how to do this. So basically, as we discuss a metric, we would pick several categories like, who listened to the most, who immersed themselves the most, and it would be like, 1 through 3, and then we would each rate each other, and then who did the best job doing, I don't know, who learned how to yodel the best, or who
looks the best in lederhosen.
Yes, precisely. So, or like who can do the best in a
Yodel
It's coming.
off.
Yodel off. Well, I was gonna
Yodel
say
off.
like you
Oh,
know, who knows who has the most yodeling knowledge or something like that. So then we would pick several categories. We'd rate each other 1 through 3, and then the person with the highest score overall, you just take all the numbers that you scored, add them up, and that person would win.
and we
So
would make that determination over the 2 weeks, not now.
no. We could figure it out. Like, what
Okay.
are our metrics? Like in our, if we're gonna pick that one, then we can pick the metrics, and then like what are we gonna judge it by? So yeah, that's my submission.
Well,
We get into yodeling in a
I've
in a
said it
big
before,
way.
and I'll say it again. I very unironically absolutely love yodeling.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it. I like listening to it. I think it's such fun music. I was in a
I
polka band for a while, and they kind of go hand in hand. Well, not really hand in hand, but sort of. But it got me into polka, and it got me into yodeling. I That's a very exciting prospect for me to get into yodeling.
I'm excited at the prospect because I've gone down the yodeling rabbit hole once or twice. I have a yodeling playlist on my Spotify that doesn't get opened very often, but it exists. But like I like the idea of spending 2 weeks like getting to know the yodel. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Really
yeah.
understand it. So
A
that
yodeling playlist, I bet, would be really good for the previous challenge to make you, you know what I was saying? If all you
yeah,
listen to is yodeling all day, you'll probably be smiling all the time.
that's
Yeah,
true.
hard to be angry when that's going on in the background.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my submission.
Okay.
Oh, I feel a little outnumbered on that one. All right, let's do my submission. Um, sometimes it can feel like the world is a little bit chaotic and you don't have any control over what happens. Some people believe there's a way that you can create change or impact in the world with your brain. I think for the next 2 weeks,
Okay.
we should do daily affirmations. We should write
Oh.
down things like I think that the idea is like you would put, I will be a famous astronaut. And then you write that down like 7 times every day. And then the universe just makes that happen. As I mean, some people believe. I don't really believe in like the spiritual aspect of it, but I do think that there is some degree of like if you buy a red car, then you'll start seeing a bunch of red cars.
Oh,
I think
seeing
there's like,
opportunities to acquire more red cars.
yeah, right, exactly. I
Yeah.
think that there is like a degree of truth to the like um, preparing your brain to seize on certain opportunities. So I would like to test that. I'd like to see what we can summon the universe to do for us.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. Not like, where like I want a new bike and then you say that 12 times and it manifests in your driveway. But our brains are, spongy meat sacks that
True.
need to be told what to think. So I do think if you kind of force yourself to be thinking in a certain direction, then you'll start to make choices that lead you down a path that may, end in the way that you're hoping.
Yeah.
So I could see that it's an interesting prospect.
And
Uh,
Mike, you and I both read there's a book by Scott Adams that mentions that he did this a little bit when trying to be successful with Dilbert. But I do think that there is something to just like priming your brain to see opportunities because your brain is like constantly filtering out noise and it has like
yeah.
a constant check for like, is this necessary or interesting to pay attention to? If not, it just chucks it. And what you're essentially doing theoretically with these affirmations is like telling it like, hey, don't filter out anything relating to this. And then I don't know.
So how does that work? You just say it to yourself all the time?
So I'm not 100%, but I think the way a lot of people do it is you do like a journal where every morning when you wake up, you would write this statement 7, 10 times or something. The statement would be, I, Dan Collins, will be a successful children's cartoonist or
Hmm.
something. and then you just write that down every day. And some people, I think, say them to themselves or whatever. We'd have to look into how to do it.
I
But that's
assume there's probably multiple methods to do it.
right. And then you just do that every day. And what you're doing theoretically is priming your brain to, basically help you achieve whatever goal you write down or say.
Isn't this what's that book? The Secret. You know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly that's what The Secret is all about. Is this
affirmations.
I think they say make a dream board or something. I don't know.
If we do this, I will be making a dream board.
And I mean, like, I am honestly I'm genuinely curious to see, like, if we do this, we all write our things down, and then over the next 2 weeks, what things can we find that jump out at us that we might not otherwise notice? Because I've noticed that phenomenon before, where if you talk to somebody about something and then you see it everywhere, I'm curious as to how dramatic we can make that effect, and what's the most insane thing that we could find. And I think that would be the metric is who has the most success, or who
makes
finds
the most progress.
Yeah, or finds the most creative opportunities that they might not have otherwise noticed.
So this reminds me of something, that kind of where you prime your brain and they start seeing stuff everywhere. So this one time, a long time ago, we were like on a family vacation or something akin to that, and we were in a hotel, and Mr. Bean, the show, was on. It was the first time that I'd ever seen it. And, it's hilarious. We watched, it was like a marathon, and we watched the whole thing, and we were all really into it. I don't know if anybody had ever seen it. Maybe my parents had. But then like 2 weeks later, the show came out in like the 80s, and this was like maybe the 1990 something or the 2000s. And then like 2 or 3 weeks later, that first Mr. Bean movie came out. So I manifested the Mr. Bean movie.
It was all you, huh?
So, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be like tangible progress on whatever your affirmation is, but just like weirdest things, weirdest connections that you then have. It's almost like deja vu, but not that at all. I don't know. I'm just curious about it. So
all right.
That's my thing.
All right, let's pick one. So I what was yours again, Dan?
Vegetarian, but you guys don't like it, so we'll pick through.
I mean, it's absolutely something that we're gonna do eventually. I just don't want to do it right now
because of your beef sticks.
Hey man, good beef sticks.
I get it. I honestly
we can't do a vegan 2 weeks while Travis has beef sticks in his fridge.
He'll have to look at those sticks every day and know that he's not going to be able to. Honestly, this is like the best time for me to do that because I need to go grocery shopping really bad. So I was thinking this would be perfect timing if we did it for me.
If we're gonna do this, we should do it during the winter when it's not barbecue season. You know what I mean?
That's fair. That's fair.
What I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but I'm also not wild about yodeling. This is what you guys have made me do.
I'm torn between you two, but I like both of them. I think yodeling could be really fun. I think Travis, you could discover your love for yodeling.
I mean, I enjoy it. I genuinely do. I just I wonder if there's enough substance there.
There's plenty.
The thing about yodeling is it's not just polka. There's like country western yodeling. That's a thing. There's like pop yodeling. There's pop EDM yodeling.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely.
Really?
If we do this, I'm sure we will find metal yodel and like every different flavor of yodeling. I don't know.
Now I'm really excited about it.
The thing about it is that I have a strong suspicion that after a couple days of deep yodeling, we will have reached the peak amount of like yodeling saturation in one's body. Yeah. And at that point, it will become very painful. And I think that could make for a funny episode. So I'm going to, I think this is a good one. And I think it's, it is beneficial on a, as far as a self-improvement thing, expanding your horizons. But like from the Justin Bieber episode, like that was like, I learned some things during that, and I think we could have the same thing in a yodeling episode. My vote.
Aren't we going to learn the same things? Did we
I
already
would
learn
say
those things?
I would suspect not. I would suspect that they would be
The
because we're already going.
demographic for yodeling and Justin Bieber don't overlap very much, I don't think.
I'm not saying the same demographic. I'm just it turns out we can appreciate music that we didn't necessarily know we enjoyed before. I don't know.
It's
If
also
you guys are
developing
into
a
it,
skill
we can do it.
because we would be doing the yodeling, right?
Well, it's not going to hurt you if you do the yodeling. So are we doing yodeling? We're yodeling, right?
I mean, it sounds like you guys you both want it.
I want it. I want the yodeling. I also, Travis, I really like you. I'm honestly kind of on the fence, but I want to do yodeling, I think.
I hate you
But
guys.
but I do like yours. You should bring yours back because I do want to do that.
I agree. I think that's a very good one. So we should see that one again. Actually, they're both. This is a good. I would say
we're
it's
all
not
just doing so great today. You know?
We are.
So
Everyone's
on the
doing a
one
great
hand,
job.
it's try to exert your will upon the universe, and on the other hand, it's yodel for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying yodel is. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well,
I'm playing up the bitterness. I'm willing to do it. I'm playing bitter for fun. Hey man, I grew up listening to Riders in the Sky, which is a cowboy yodeling group. I enjoy yodel. I'm probably not going to be very good at it. I'll say that, but I'm willing to do it.
I think we need to have a yodel off. We need to figure out the metric, though. That's going to be important.
All right, yeah. Let's talk. So I think we should do a rubric. So we'll pick like, I don't know, as many categories as we want, really. So I think obviously like the immersion level, like how deep yodel did you go, should be one of them, right? I should be writing this down. Right.
Yes,
yeah.
you should.
Well, that's kind of vague, though, isn't it? Like,
This whole
it
thing
is
is going
vague.
to be vague. I'll be honest.
Well, no. That's the whole point, because we're like we each will rate each other, like how we think the other people did, and then so it it's okay that it's not like a hard metric, because it's it's up to subjective interpretation spanned over 3 people. So,
All right, Mike, how about this? So there's a performative element in that we will each try to create at least one piece of yodeling media,
Yodeling.
whether it be live yodeling or if we create a song of us yodeling or something. We'll each do something like that, but there will also be a wisdom or knowledge check on the culture of yodeling, the history of yodeling, the different types of yodeling, that sort of thing, right?
Okay,
so there's 2.
and then what lessons did we learn from yodeling?
Or who learned the best lesson, or who learned the most lesson, or who learned the most important lesson? I guess that's what we can leave up to interpretation.
So I think some combination of those things we can hash.
Well,
it out.
so how about this? So whatever I got written down here, we got yodel immersion, yodel performance, yodel knowledge, and yodel. What was the last one?
Lessons learned.
Yodeling lessons.
Yodel life impact.
Life.
Yodel life.
Yeah.
Yep. Yodel life impact. All right. I think we got it. And then we can hash that out.
I would also like to say that yodel life impact sounds like a yodeling line in a song.
Yeah.
Yodel. Should we get a bass line?
My baseline is 0.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's something about going from your
that's
from
what you
your
got to do.
You got
If your soft palate to your hard palate.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh no, that's like Tarzan. Yeah.
I mean, that's what Tarzan, I would posit is yodeling in his,
Yeah.
he's yodeling in his war cry.
I think we're going to lose some fans on this
Yeah,
episode.
we can say whatever we want because everybody's gone. Everyone just left.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But we're gonna get a huge crowd of new fans coming in, listening to this.
Yeah,
that
that
yodeling
podcast driven.
Those rambunctious yodelers, though,
Yeah.
All right, I think we have a metric enough, right? What should we do for the title?
Okay. Well, I said Yumpin Yodler. I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I like. It doesn't matter what the other part of it is. Just yodel itself is already funny. Just the word. It's such a self-aware word.
Yodeling. Yoda.
I was thinking the yodel mogul, just so that whoever gets that title will stumble over it every time they have to say it.
I don't know. I don't think we're gonna get better than Yumpin Yodler.
I kind of like. Well, what about like Yodel Boss?
Yeah.
How
Yodel?
How about just simple the Yodeler?
The Yodeler.
The
I don't know.
yodelist.
Every time we yodelist, yodel.
Captain Yodel Pants.
I'm trying to think of words that start with Y so I can alliterate on this, but they're yodeling yuts. Yodeling
Yeah.
I'm honestly drawing a blank. Like yodel is just his broken me.
Yeah, man, I got nothing. Yodel. I think the word yodel it's taking up too much space in my mind.
Yeah.
So
The
as I'm-
layman.
Yodel. Yeah, I got it.
There's only one word really there's two words that rhyme with yodel, and it's modal and nodal. The rest of these words are not real words.
The modal nodal yodeler.
The yodel mogul.
The yodel hero.
Yodel a hero.
Yodel he hero.
That's pretty good.
Yodel a hero. I like yodel a hero.
What is this yodel he? What's a word that rhymes with who?
Oh, this challenge. Yodel
nope.
he you. It's
Yodel-a-he
real
me.
stretching. Yeah.
Yodel he me.
I think yodel hey hero, yodel hero, or the Yumpin Yodelers. Those are the best we've had so far.
Yumpin Yodler. That's pretty good.
Captain of the Yodel He crew.
A little wordy, but it's pretty good.
I don't know. I guess maybe we should just stick with Yumpin Yodler. That's my favorite so far.
It's concise. It'll let people know that they don't need to listen to this episode. I'm just kidding. I kind of like these challenges, so I can just like sit back and take pot shots.
Yeah. All right. I think we're good then.
Yumpin Yodler.
Yumpin Yodler.
Yumpin Yodler. Forecasts. Who do we think to do well? I think Dan stands in a good place to do well just because of his previous experience with his polka band.
And he has an accordion and is phenomenally talented as a musician. I would agree. But Mike, your baseline yodel was pretty good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So.
I don't know. I don't know about this one. I feel pretty good. I feel like this is one I can dig my teeth into pretty good.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't have high hopes for me. I don't think that yodelers are typically lower register singers, which I sort of am.
You don't necessarily have to win the yodeling performance to take the competition, though.
It is a factor, though.
It is
That
factored.
well, yeah, that's true.
It's 25% of your grade.
All right. So, okay. So we have our challenge, we have our metric, we have our honorific. Let's do this.
I hate this. This is my hell.
Hi, folks. While we're taking this break here, just wanted to stop and say thanks for listening. We really appreciate it. If you guys are enjoying the show, it's helpful if you leave a review or you comment, or just tell your friends about the show. You can do that in a lot of ways, whatever's convenient for you. We're on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. You can shoot us an email. That works great too. You can tell us what you're thinking about the show, or if you have any good ideas for challenges, we'd like to hear that as well.
Yeah, so if you want to send an email, we're at perpetualincompetence@gmail.com. All one word, no spaces or hyphens or anything. And then on Twitter, we are at incompetentpod. And Instagram, we're perpetual_incompetence. All these links will be in the show notes for the podcast, so that's probably the easiest way for you to find them and to reach out to us.
If you'd like to join us in the challenges, we'll be posting them to Twitter as soon as we start them. We try not to discuss the challenges with each other during the 2 weeks while we are actually doing them, so that we can save those juicy morsels for when we come back to discuss them on the show. So we would love nothing more than to hear about your guys' experiences, thoughts about the show, or just pop in to say hello. So if the spirit moves you, we'd love to hear from you. Anyway, back to the show.
Welcome back to the Perpetual Incompetence Podcast. As a reminder, we recorded the first part of the podcast 2 weeks ago, and since then, we have fully embraced the yodeling world and tried to yodel ourselves. Let's discuss our initial thoughts and lessons learned first, and then we will unleash our yodeling upon the world. Who wants to go first?
I could go first.
Go for it, Dan.
I will. So I think the first thing I want to say is yodeling is really hard to do.
Yes.
I would also say yodeling is very hard to do and make it not sound really terrible.
Yes.
Yes.
So anybody that I see, or rather hear yodeling, yeah, you have to give them some sort of props because that's a lot of work to get that good. Also, another general thing about yodeling is that it's very hard to research any musicians who've incorporated yodeling or anything. As soon as you type yodeling in the search bar, you get the same 5 results. The Walmart kid that was yodeling, well, no, I'm drawing.
America's Got Talent, 12-year-old girl that did it.
Yeah.
Yep. and then she's got a couple YouTube videos, but
yeah. And then there's like 3 kind of popular meme YouTube songs that were yodeling. Well,
then there's a whole subgenre of people that remix that Walmart kid yodeling.
Yeah. So I would say this was probably the hardest thing I've had to research. But I would just like to start with my favorite 3 yodelers.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite 3. My number 1 is Takeo Ishii. You guys familiar?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you see the ninja chicken fighting video?
I am familiar. Yes.
It was actually legitimately pretty good. Like the song and his yodeling in that was, I don't care who you are. That was a beautiful song.
He's on point.
And his humor is pretty silly. Franzel Lang.
Yep.
Obviously.
Classic.
The guy is probably the best yodeler I've heard, and I've heard a lot of yodeling. That guy just took it like above. And then Roy Rogers, the country guy. He didn't do a lot of yodeling in most of his songs, I don't think, but the ones he did, it was a beautiful thing to behold.
Sure.
Yep.
What I would say I spent the most amount of time researching, which was also very hard to do, was artists that you don't associate with yodeling. So, if you don't mind, I'd like to read some names.
Yep.
Elvis. I guess that's not a huge surprise, but Elvis did a little bit of yodeling.
Crooning, probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
but he did some legit. I mean, I don't know if he did it in any of his like popular songs, but he did. He was a yodeler. The Cranberries, that song "Zombie."
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's definitely
Oh,
yodeling.
sure. I suppose.
Zombie, you know.
Yep.
Um,
Very nice.
R. Kelly did a song where it was all about yodeling. You know, however you think of R. Kelly, but he was there. He was doing it. And then the ones that were a little bit more surprising when it clicked in my brain, Kurt Cobain. And almost every
Oh.
song he goes, you know, he does that.
Yeah, like breaks his voice.
He did
Okay,
make
sure.
a song called the yodeling song that was all yodeling. And I think he was probably not fully sober at the time, but when you listen to his songs, if you're listening for yodeling, almost every Nirvana song has a little bit of that yodel in it. And then my favorite one that I just discovered today, our old friend Justin Bieber.
I'm
so low, you know.
Yeah.
Lonely.
It really it's more pervasive than I kind of had originally thought. You know, another one that's not on your list there, Dan. Alanis Morissette does it a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Where's the line between just like doing a big jump in register and yodeling? Because I think everyone who's ever sang has yodeled.
That's not true. I tried really hard to find Kanye West yodeling. I couldn't find a song.
Well, I think a part of kind of training to be a good singer is to smooth over that transition from your chest voice to your head voice.
Right.
That's a thing that people do, and yodeling is kind of like whatever.
We don't need smooth. What's that?
We'll just do whatever we want to do.
But I will say I tried to find there are some very rare hip hop songs that will incorporate a little bit of yodeling. A few of them outright say that we are yodeling, but I have come to the conclusion that
Snoop Dogg, right?
that auto tune is just yodeling with extra steps. Because that's what it is. It's just it'll jump to a higher register. Like it's just electronically assisted yodeling is what auto tune is, and I'm gonna die on that hill.
Yeah, I'm glad you feel that way. It'll become apparent as to why later. I was gonna say the Avett Brothers have a yodeling song, at least one also.
Yeah,
like an actual not just a register jump, but like a yodel. So
okay,
that's what I found. Also, if you're into them,
I'm not familiar, unfortunately.
I do like them.
Yeah,
you're lost, Dan. You should check them out.
I'll do that when we're done recording. There's also I really like Irish folk music. There's a lot of they don't call it yodeling, but if you listen to it, it's essentially the same thing as yodeling. There's also it's not yodeling. They don't do the high register thing, but lilting. I got kind of into lilting, where it's an Irish an Irish traditional way that they just sort of go
yes.
Anyways, that's just a side note, but that was something I got into that for like 2 days, and I listened to a lot of Irish lilting.
Irish scat.
Yeah. And I tried to. So I've been enjoying listening to yodeling. Pretty much every day I listen to it on my way to and from work. I enjoy it. And I was trying to figure out why yodeling wasn't cool anymore. There's this 461 page like intense study that was done on why yodeling isn't popular anymore. And I didn't read the whole thing, obviously, but they it seemed like one of the conclusions that they were making was that the the Nazis, I guess, were trying to make yodeling like a national thing. So like after World War II, that, and then also like it was like what your parents were listening to. And it's country music, which it was associated with country music. It wasn't always. And then all of that sort of was just the decline. And I think that that's stupid. Let's take yodeling back. You know what I mean?
I would argue that it kind of has come back, at least the mechanics of it, where you kind of flip between the registers.
Yeah.
It's you hear that a lot in pop music these days.
I mean, saying that yodeling's coming back.
Okay, yeah, I mean they're not saying yeah,
like,
Dua Lipa or whatever her name isn't like, yodeling.
After 2
in
weeks of
the club.
listening to just yodeling, you might be a little bit biased on that, I think. But
I think that's all that anybody's listening to these days. That's all.
Yodeling and Justin Bieber,
That's the only thing there is, I thought. There's nothing else. There's nothing else out there.
But
you try and find a song that doesn't have yodeling in it.
You just try. So in conclusion, my studies and my findings and my listening to yodeling, I think it's a really good vocal tool that is severely underutilized. And I think artists need to embrace yodeling a little bit more. I think our music would become much more colorful.
Sure.
That's all I have to say.
It would definitely change the vibe of a lot of songs if you added yodeling.
See, I think like if you add yodeling, not just like what, okay, if you add the yodeling that people think of when you say yodeling to songs, it feels like it ruins them. And you can't just like put like German and like the country yodeling in any song. Like you have to make a song that has yodeling. Like it's not something that you can just drop into regular songs.
R. Kelly did it pretty well. You should listen to the Echo.
I'll check it out. But I don't know. I looked. So I'll roll into my spiel. I took a narrower view of what constitutes yodeling. So your more traditional like actual yodeling, not just register jumps. And Spotify has relatively little yodeling on the platform, and I don't think it's necessarily their fault. There's just not much to be had. Like you said, the Takeo Ishii, who I think is basically the whole reason we did this, because Mike found that cow, yodeling cow or cow attack song.
Yes, that is 100% true. That is why we're doing this.
Yeah, which is worth listening to if anybody's listening. But as far as other bands that I like I said, I mentioned I grew up listening to Riders in the Sky, so they have some good. It's like an old country with some yodeling and stuff. And by and large, I found most of the yodeling artists or bands out there are either like sad cowboys or jubilant blonde giants, like the Swedes and the Germans and stuff like that. Those are your two flavors of yodeling that are available. And most of the songs I found on Spotify, they were fine, but I would have happily turned them off after like 45 seconds. I didn't enjoy this yodeling experience. It's not terrible. It's fine. If nothing else, like listening to all this yodeling has been reassuring to me that I haven't been missing anything by not listening to yodeling for 20 years. It's exactly what I expected it to be. It's still there. It's still okay. I had a thought while I was, maybe not. As well as driving to your place, Mike, for the Weird Al concert, I had a thought that yodeling is kind of like those the Candies Warheads. It's a little abrasive at first, but then it's a little bit sweet also. It's good to have occasionally, but if I were to intake a lot of them, it might actually kill me. So it's okay, it's fine. I don't know. It's too much for me. On day one of listening to yodeling of this challenge, I went on YouTube and I think it was on that Walmart kid yodeling. In the comment section, there was a YouTube comment that summed my opinion up perfectly. And all it said was, when you think about it, yodeling is just the guitar solo of the voice. And that's basically it. These people just riffing and looping and jumping and like that's the guitar noodlers who go on for 40 minutes. And I'm not crazy about it. So if we're judging this contest based on how much we enjoyed yodeling, that pretty much puts me out of the running.
We did not. We made sure to make sure that wasn't a stipulation to win this time.
If you liked it or not, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't hate it, but I wasn't crazy about it. It's fine. It's okay to listen to occasionally, but I wouldn't recommend listening to it exclusively for 2 weeks, which I did not do. But yeah. Anyway, that's me.
That's fair. I didn't.
How was it for you,
I would
Mike?
say I definitely took a Weird Al break after we went to the Weird Al concert.
Yes. Side note, can we just take a little detour here and just say Weird Al just still rips?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. He brought it
About,
hard.
like strong
real
vocals.
Yeah.
Like he's getting on in his years, but his vocals are still outstanding.
Yeah.
Live and in concert, yeah, he was great.
Yeah, it was great. They literally sat down the entire concert and brought full energy. So
Yeah.
okay, so I'll jump into mine here. So yeah, I mean, I guess so I started with a lot of the traditional like Swiss German yodeling. I guess the traditionally it is a Swiss thing because it started from like Swiss cattle farmers, and that's how they'd like call in their cattle and talk to other people on other mountaintops.
Yep.
Just a little bit of history for you guys there.
Yeah, I also read the Wikipedia.
Yeah. So my first impression was, this is it's real happy music. It's just real happy. But after a while, it reminded me of, like me listening to it kind of reminded me of the Happy, Happy, Joy, Joy episode of Ren and Stimpy, which of course ends with Ren bashing his own head in to stop the happiness with a smile smeared across his face to the beat of the music. So it's I would say traditional yodeling is best taken in small doses.
I would agree.
Because I did probably like 2 days straight of nothing but the first couple days, and it was kind of like, I don't know, just it it did something to my head. Like all the thoughts were just jangling around and yodeling about in my, it just kind of, it's hard to concentrate with that going on in the background.
It's definitely weird having a yodeling song stuck in your head for a few days.
Yeah. There's a lot of aspects I like about it. There's a lot of just technique and skill that goes into it. Like like we've already said. I like the really fast ones, and I was thinking of it as I was listening to some. What was the name of the band? It was one that I really liked. Hold on. It is Osh Die Dritten. I don't know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If you're looking for a good song, look up "Yodeln ist cool." That's a good one. But anyway, like the lead singer is this woman, and she does really fast yodeling, and it kind of reminds me of like the really fast arpeggiated synth and like electronic music, which I enjoy quite a bit. I like that, like diddly diddly diddly,
Sure.
tinkly thing, but they're doing it with their mouth, which is impressive.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that. So like the whole, it's very yodel forward. I don't know how to describe it otherwise. It's like yodeling doesn't care if you're ready to hear it or not. It's going to happen.
Good. That's
so
a good way to describe it.
Your spirit has to be ready to receive the yodel before it manifests. Otherwise, you'll be kind of shocked. So
this reminds me of like one of on day 2, I was watching YouTube videos on like how to yodel, and there was a woman that was like, she made a video trying to explain how to do it, and she was in her car recording, and she said,
I
"I'm
saw
doing
this video.
my yodeling warm ups in the car so that I don't bother my daughter or something like that, because she's in the room next to my studio," and that's fine and nice of her. But in my head, I'm like, even the people that are good at yodeling know that yodeling is kind of annoying to listen to.
So I think it was, I forget which recording artist it was. Like Hank Williams or one of the big ones wrote a book about how to yodel like a cowboy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And in one of the parts it says, when you're starting to learn how to yodel, make sure you find a quiet place by yourself, because the sounds that you make when you're learning how to yodel can surprisingly be annoying to other people, you know.
Yeah, surprisingly, not so much.
Surprisingly. I was thinking of, so like as we were recording our performance, which I'm sure everyone was very much so looking forward to, there was like this, because I basically just let it record, and I just gave it my best for like, maybe 20 minutes. So there's 20 minutes of me like like trying to get it, get it going.
Yeah.
I will say my recording, I ended up with one I'm sort of happy with, but it was probably the 50th take.
Yeah,
Yodeling
I
is
agree.
hard. That's what I said.
It is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard
It takes
to do.
It's like, I mean, singing is hard, which is true, but yodeling, you really gotta force it. You gotta get in there. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And it doesn't sound good at all if you
No.
do it slightly wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you do it
So-
right.
Or even if you're doing it perfectly right sometimes. Yeah, I don't think that I got a good take on mine, and just like listening to the one that I landed on just filled me with cringe. So I am not happy about it.
I'm kind of should we get into those, Mike? Are you
Well,
okay.
let me. Well, I guess what my some finishing thoughts here. So I started off with the traditional stuff, but then I sort of discovered the cowboy yodeling, and that's it is sad kind of. And I was listening to like the really old stuff, like Jimmy Rogers and yodeling Slim Clark. And like they and it's pretty chill, and you can kind of listen to it. It's all kind of sounds the same, they use like the same 3 chords for every single song they ever wrote, but
Yeah.
it's it's kind of like, yeah, all right, you got it, yodeling Slim. But yeah, one thing about my recording, I guess we could start talking about that. Yeah, should we get into it? I'm ready to start talking about my recording.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to go first, Mike?
I can, yeah. Because mine's shorter than your guys's, I know. So while recording this, so I've been practicing yodeling on my drive home. So
Me too.
which is probably the best time to do it, because then nobody else can hear me. I have a long drive; it's like 40 minutes, so I got time to practice. So I recorded it this afternoon, actually. I made an attempt on Sunday morning, but I just wasn't feeling it. So I originally was going to do like a full-on song with the guitar parts and everything. But after practicing in my car, I realized that trying to have other instrumentation going with it is just going to mess me up. So I just have a short a cappella little
Oh yeah.
of me just to yodeling away. And so I kind of tried to do 2 things. I did both the sort of cowboy. I did sort of a rendition of "In the Jailhouse Now" by Jimmy Rogers, his yodel part in that. My take on it, anyway. And then I kind of did a similar one, but in a more traditional, faster, kind of upbeat kind of way of doing it. I found as I was recording it, I discovered it was very hard to not giggle after every time I did it.
It feels absurd.
Yeah. So so anyway, I just left that in there. So, but so as I was recording this, it's hard to get the break your voice, and some of the videos and stuff have good kind of methods to try it. But there's this, I don't remember if we talked about this in the first place, but I have this like funny prospector voice I do just to entertain myself. And part of that is like I break my voice to do it. And it turns out that's the best way to get warmed up to do
example of that, Mike?
Yeah, here, hold on. I'll say something. What? Well, I'll be a suck egg mule. This is a song I wrote about my mama down the big house. Now we ain't got no victuals. I don't know.
That's pretty good.
So
I want to hear your yodel now, Mike.
Yeah.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's listen to it. Go ahead. I'm gonna listen to it too. Let me know when you guys are done. Yodelay, yodelay, ooh, yodelay, yodelay, ooh, yodelay, 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 ooh, yodelay, 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 ooh.
Oh, that was great.
That was actually pretty good. I gotta say.
That was really good.
I mean, I was pretty happy with it. So
I think you should continue yodeling, Mike. That was
I think you could actually make it as good as yodeling can be.
Well, thank you, Travis. Thanks, guys.
While it's fresh in my brain, I'll say that you mentioned it being hard to. I mean, earlier you said that yodeling is very yodel forward, and I struggled with that in my song, and that I couldn't I had a hard time getting like a yodel to jive with the rest of the music. So yeah, you probably were right, and just do like the cold solo yodel.
Travis, you want to go next, or?
Yeah, let's get it over with. So mine is very different. I kind of realized that I don't know. Like I said, when I listened to myself yodeling, I couldn't get a good one, and it just like absolutely turned my blood. So I decided to basically astroturf over my yodeling, and I made a song set in the year 2291 of a sentient robot discovering coffee. And the only way that he can express his feelings is through yodeling.
All right.
That's it, guys.
So, yeah, you'll listen to A Coffee Tragedy in 3 parts.
Excellent. All right. Listening now.
What is this coffee? How have I been ignorant till now? I have such feelings that I must express. But how? By order of the Grand Tea Wizard, we hereby confiscate this coffee and will now decommission you, coffee robot.
That
That's
was
the best.
amazing.
That's the best thing I think I've ever heard.
I wish I could have heard your yodeling a little bit clearer, but I mean, I'm not even mad.
There's a reason that you can't, because it was terrible.
I mean, we should make that the theme song. I'm like
So,
so
yeah,
awestruck right now.
Oh man, I'm crying. It's so good.
So, like, we'd been talking last week about listening to a lot of like synthwave, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to make a synthwave song. And it's like, oh, what if, we didn't find a lot of yodeling on Spotify, and I'm like, there needs to be a newer, like a hip yodeling song. So I tried to make that, and I put like the intro part, and I did like kind of the voiceover, and I was pretty happy with it. And then I poured dirt all over it by trying to yodel. So as of this afternoon, I had like I was using just like auto tune on my voice, and auto tune. My yodeling was so bad that auto tune made it worse. So then I recorded with a vocoder, and that's the final product there. I was happy with the song, but gosh, it like absolutely. I did not like I'm not a great singer. I don't have a lot of practice in it, but like we hinted at earlier, like trying to go from little singing experience to yodeling is such a huge jump, and I did not land that well.
Man, that's well. Regardless, yodeling.
How do I
It's,
express it?
That's
pretty good.
that's great. Good job, Travis.
Thanks, guys. All right, Dan, what do you got?
Well, so I just recorded myself on my microphone. I played the accordion along with myself.
Nice.
And I picked an old favorite from Takeo Ishii.
Excellent.
I just played the first bit, but I will say I added a little bit of flavor in there.
Little Dan sauce on there.
Yeah, and before we listen to it, I noticed a similar thread through most of my favorite, especially like the German, the European kind of yodelers. They all stand up, they all bounce, and they all smile really wide. So I did that. So as you listen to this, imagine me in my room, standing with my accordion, bouncing and smiling as big as I could as I'm playing this. So we can go ahead and listen.
Alone in your house.
Yeah.
All right, listening now.
All right. It was when I was outdoors a-walking, someone took my lovely chicken from me. Run, my lovely chicken, run, my dear. Run, my lovely chicken, run away. Yodelay, yodelo, hoo, yodelay, yodelo, hoo, yeah, yodelo, hoo, yodelay, yodelo, hoo, yodelay, yodelo, hoo, yeah, yodelo, yodelay, 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 yodelo, 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 hoo, yeah, yodelo.
Oh, that's delightful, Dan.
That's wonderful.
That's like a solid cover.
Yeah.
There was an English translation. The original's in German, but he's a Japanese guy who sings it in German, but then he also translated it to English with subtitles.
That's solid, Dan. That's really good.
I'll say the only criticism I have is your chicken bucks aren't that identifiable.
Oh.
Well, it's hard to compete with Takeo Ishii.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That guy's perfect. Yeah, that was awesome, Dan.
Thanks.
Bonus points for like playing your own accompaniment on the accordion.
Yeah.
If it were any other instrument, it would be like, okay, that's good. Good job. But an accordion is the ideal instrument.
Yeah.
Yodeling.
Well, I figured if I didn't, then I would get like points deducted or something.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Your yodeling was on point too, actually.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
I did a lot of takes, I will say.
Yeah. Man, I was feeling kind of confident. I liked my yodel, but now I'm feeling less confident. All right.
Well, I think it's safe to say I'm like removing myself from the competition here. You guys actually yodeling. There's no world in which I could win this, and I'm okay with that.
I
In
did.
a way, I don't even want to be the Yumpin Yodler.
I did like your song a lot, and it was a full song. But I
That's
would
true.
say that your yodeling performance was underwhelming.
Yep, that's fair.
I agree. Although that song needs to stay around. Somebody needs to make like a music video for that or something.
Maybe someday. Anyway, should we get to the grading, or how do you want to do this?
So let's start with the first item on the rubric: yodel immersion. Now, I guess this could be who listened to the most, who like lived yodeling the most. It's kind of hard to judge, honestly.
That is
I
a
did
hard one to
consider
judge.
buying Lederhosen, but I didn't.
You would have won for that.
Darn.
Yeah, I also looked it up, but I did not want to spend the money on it. Well,
I
okay,
did-
I'll say
let me say something about Lederhosen. So if you just go to like Amazon and get a costume Lederhosen, and then you see the real Lederhosen also for sale, then it's hard to not only want the real one, because the costume one is just it's a sad replacement, I would say.
right.
So that's why I didn't get Lederhosen. I could have just got the costume stuff, but I wouldn't have felt good about myself.
So I think I listened to probably on average maybe 20, 30 minutes of yodeling a day.
Like if you average out, because there was definitely days I didn't listen to it.
Right. It might even be a little, probably 20 minutes, I would say, if I average out everything.
Yeah, I might be like 15, 20 minutes of yodeling. I did learn a yodeling song, how to play it on my instrument.
That's
and
true.
Sing it.
Your time practicing probably counts then also.
Yeah, I would say so, because my
It wasn't
time
a complicated song.
my time
but-
practicing was mostly just me by myself in the car. So, which I mean was like a full like at least a half an hour almost every day of me straight up yodeling. I wasn't every day. I'd say maybe like half the time I was yodeling on the way home.
All right. So I think I would vote Dan as most immersed, then Mike, then me.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
Just for the practicing of the song. I don't know.
Sure.
Gut feeling.
I
I agree. I think Dan did more with learning the accordion song and stuff. So, okay, let's stick with that. Yodel performance. Travis, I'm sorry, buddy, but I'm gonna give you a 1.
Nope, I agree.
So it comes down to me and Dan. I don't know. I was really happy with mine. I thought my fast yodeling was more on point than Dan, but that might just be me being
I think
loving my baby.
I think your yodeling felt more natural and smooth than mine.
But then again, Dan did the accordion. That's properly a part of yodeling. I don't know.
And
Travis,
can
what
we
do you-
give me a 0 and you both 3?
No, you get
No.
a point.
get a point? And that song was
Participation
awesome
trophy.
too. Well, yeah.
I don't know. I think you both deserve 3, whether I get a point or not. I know
Is that
that kind
against
of
the
flies in the
rules?
face of our.
I mean,
yeah.
we didn't
So
say it's against rules.
We make up the rules.
Yeah.
We do make the rules. We can give ourselves both 3s.
I think you both earned a full 3 points.
All right.
Okay, I'll take 3, I guess.
Yodeling knowledge. See, now the intent was to find a yodeling quiz or something online that we could test against. There's not a lot out there, but there should be.
There should be. I agree.
So this one might just be moot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was so hard. Like I spent time trying to like research, trying to like look up stuff. I did find that like 400 and something page thing about yodeling, and I mean, obviously we all read the Wikipedia, and I don't know. I mean, it's hard to find information about yodeling.
I mean, I guess here's the question. Did you guys all spend some time researching and trying to
Yeah.
learn about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all get 3s. Good job, everyone.
So yeah, it's moot. But yeah, great job. We did it. We learned everything there is to know about yodeling.
We're now the masters. We're the keepers of the knowledge of yodeling.
All right, so
Okay.
it comes down to yodel life impact.
Yep. Dan is in the lead right now. So, I guess, how has yodeling impacted your lives?
I definitely am listening. I was listening for yodeling and songs, and whenever I like hear like someone go, I'm like, oh, I know what that's all about.
It has not impacted my life really in the slightest.
Besides that, you were inconvenienced for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Other than making me appreciate good music even more.
Well, I will say I think I'm going to continue to practice yodeling because it's super fun to do, and like it would be such a fun like sitting around the campfire playing music and just whip out a yodel, you know.
Yeah.
I think I'm honestly going to continue practice yodeling.
I
I mean, casually.
I agree, Dan. I like my if I decide that I want to practice singing, it's normally on my drive home from work, and it's it spans a wide range of items, but I think like yodeling has now made its way into something that I'm going to try to get better at, just because
Yeah.
it's fun. It's like a fun thing to do, and like when you kind of nail it, you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Think about how good you can make your old-timey prospector sound.
You make the old-timey prospector yodel a little bit.
Yeah.
That would there's another music video we should do. So I think beyond that, I don't think I'm gonna listen to yodeling a ton. Although I will say, because I've been listening to it, like I've been watching YouTube videos with yodeling with the kids, and now like I came home today, and I stepped out of the car and I was yodeling because I was yodeling all the way home, and I was planning on recording, so I wanted to stay tight.
Yeah.
But like Ruby, my 2-year-old, heard me doing it, and then she was like, It was cute.
Yeah. My girls have been yodeling also. And before I did the vocoder version of my song, I was like trying to tweak it or trying to do anything to make it the yodeling decent. And Olivia came up and said, "Dad, that yodeling is terrible." So, she's now an expert.
She now knows. She knows.
Yeah.
So I think beyond casually, I'm not going to pursue it a whole lot. And I know Dan, and I could see him because Dan goes and busks with his accordion like in the city, and I could see you whipping out some yodeling.
Oh, I'd need a lot more practice before I felt confident to do that.
But would you want to do that, though?
I would definitely want to do that. Yeah.
Because I kind of want you to do it. So I'm willing to guess that Dan is probably going to spend more time on it than I am in the future. So I could take that dive.
Well, also, though, I mean, I would say if we're talking about life impact, if your children are going to become yodelers, that's a pretty big life impact.
I don't know if they will. They also got really psyched when I was watching a bunch of Weird Al videos too, so they're just easily impressionable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think you got this, Dan. I think you have 3s across the board.
You guys are giving me all 3s. I mean, all right. Yeah. I didn't feel like I got that deep into yodeling, but maybe I did, and I didn't even realize it.
Maybe I am the Yumpin Yodler.
Deep down, I always knew.
I always knew.
Can I ask, did you guys feel like, is this thing that we've just done, Is this something that we would recommend to other people?
I mean, kind of.
I don't think I would. I would say try some songs, but don't waste 2 weeks of your life.
Okay.
I disagree. I think like knowing the people that I know, like that especially people that I'm related to that actually listen to our podcast, after they listen to this, they're all going to go on a yodeling binge, and I think they will be all the better for it. So
sure, go on a short binge. Don't have to check yourself into rehab after that binge.
So this is a true story that happened to me yesterday. And these are the true thoughts that went through my mind. So I was doing work outside of my garage, and I went into a place next to my garage that I've never stood before, and I was gonna like nail some boards to the wall, and then I discovered that I was standing on top of a beehive, and I got attacked by a swarm of bees and stung many times.
No.
And I ran into my house. And I was in a lot of pain, obviously. And I was like not 100% sure that I'm not allergic to bees.
No.
Like I've been stung before, but like, I don't know, maybe this is a certain type of bee. Like they're just honeybees, but like, I was like, maybe I'm allergic and maybe I'm going to die, And the thought ran through my mind of, is listening to yodeling going to be like my last hurrah forever? And it was sort of depressing. So I would not recommend forcing yourself to listen to yodeling. Listen to what you like, and if you like yodeling, then listen to it. Maybe a little bit of yodeling, because maybe you don't know that you like it.
I thought that story was going to take a drastically different turn, and that you were going to say that you yodeled your way through the pain, and that you would recommend medicinal yodeling.
I didn't yodel. Maybe I should have.
Well, now we'll never know, Dan. Missed opportunity.
The hive's still out there. I could go.
That's true.
There you go. Could kick it a little bit, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad you didn't die.
Yeah, I'm not allergic to
Dan.
bees, so that's good.
All right. Any final thoughts before we mosey on out of here?
I would say, despite what you guys say, I kind of enjoyed yodeling. I mean, I enjoyed the act of it. I thought the music was very uplifting in short doses, and yeah, give it a whirl,
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. Now announcing and introducing the Yumpin Yodler, Dan Collins.
Well, thank you, Travis. I just have one thing to say. Yodel. You did great.
Next time on Perpetual Incompetence.
And I think we could all benefit from that. And Mike, you and I could work on our like really strong dad arms.
Yeah.
Veiny forearms and stuff.
Yeah, just lift children.